All right, this is Ubaid on behalf of V Electronics, and in this video, we'll be talking about convergence and capital deepening. Okay, so when it comes to capital deepening, okay, let's look at an example over here. Let's use a graph. So let's say this is the graph that has to do with your capital deepening. So over here you have output. So this has to do with production. Okay, and over here you have capital. So this would be your physical and human capital. And again, physical capital as in equipment, machinery, labor, okay, or equipment and machine. Okay, and human capital would be skills, knowledge, training, so on and so forth. Okay, so this is human plus physical capital. All right, and we know that as the capital goes up, okay, the output or production goes up. Okay, and let's call this curve technology one. Okay, because this has to do with a nation that has made certain advances in technology. Okay, so this is technology one. And let's say this is the least developed of the three nations that we'll be looking at on this graph. And let's say this is technology one, which is the least developed technology. All right, now as you develop the technology even further, okay, the output goes up. All right, given the same amount of capital, which is human and physical capital. All right, so technology two. Okay, and the last one over here will even have a higher output. Okay, we'll have a higher output than the last two, so this will be technology three. And basically what this curve is telling us is as you advance your technology, as the technology becomes more sophisticated, okay, the output goes up. And we can observe that using these curves over here. Okay, the output for technology one, okay, is the least of the three. The output for technology two is less than three, but more than one. And the output of technology three is the highest amongst the three. All right. So basically, technology may be independent of diminishing marginal benefit or marginal return. Okay. And when we talk about marginal return, again, from the last video, it has to do with marginal return of investing capital. Okay. So human plus physical capital. So it used to be that people used to believe that as you invest more human and physical capital, as you advance your education, skills, knowledge, training, and you get more equipment, tools, so on and so forth, the output will go up. Okay. And contrary to the belief that the output may go up indefinitely and the growth rate may be indefinite, it's not really the case because it hits a peak. It hits a peak just like your stock market. Okay. So the more you invest in human and physical capital, the higher the growth rate. Okay. However, this growth rate at some point will reach its peak. And at this point, it will start falling down. Okay. So the growth rate, the economic growth rate, the economic growth rate will be much slower. Okay. We're talking about a slow economic growth. All right. Now, when we talk about a slow economic growth, okay, technology is a variable, okay, that changes the equation. All right, technology changes this equation, okay, changes the fact that a well developed nation may experience slow economic growth because it reaches a peak where, according to the law of marginal benefit, according to the law of marginal gain and returns, okay, the growth will slow down. Okay, contrary to that belief, if the well developed nation advances in technology and keeps advancing its technology, becomes more sophisticated, Okay, it will keep on increasing its economic growth at the same or even faster rate, depending on the advances in technology. Okay, so the more it advances in technology, the faster or bigger the growth rate. Okay, and we're talking about economic growth rate over here. All right. Fortunately, so far, since the industrial age, we have not reached a marginal, or let's say a peak in terms of the marginal benefit of making advances in technology. Okay, so far we have not reached, okay, let's say a limit as to how much we can advance our technology and how it may impact the economic growth. Okay, and for that reason, the more advances in technology, the more sophisticated the technology, okay, the higher the economic growth, which means to get out of the restrictions set by law of marginal return or law of marginal diminishing marginal benefit. Okay, a country can basically keep on advancing in terms of technologies, invention, and innovations. Okay, to make sure that the economic growth rate stays stable or the economy grows at a faster rate compared to the last year. Okay, so that way, okay, it can reduce unemployment, it can support immigration, it can support high birth rate, okay, so on and so forth. All right. So apart from that, that would be it for this video. On behalf of V Electronics, this is Obey. Have yourself a great day.